Hello, friends. Namaste and good evening from India. Welcome to the 32nd episode of International Poetry Event being hosted on the page. To begin with, let me introduce you to the poets of the wonderful evening. Let me begin with Dane. From a small grove of black oak trees on Collins Street in Fort Worth, Texas, the road wound around in another Texas towns and ending with radio days in Space City. Dane came west to study fine art, acting, and wrote sparingly. Tragedy focuses the artist's mind, ending in many poems, special online programming events, outrage against racism, Valentine's Day mascara, Juneteenth, and an International Day of the Dead event, and an event in support of Ukraine. Dane is an internationally published poet, Beat Poet Laureate for California, hosts a weekly open mic, Time to Arrive, and is the founder of I Publish We. Welcome, Dane.
Thank you very much. I would like to start off sharing my work with some form poetry. The first one is an Irish form, and then the next.
We'll invite you for the poetry once the round of introduction is over.
Okay.
We would just like to introduce the other poets first.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. So let me move on to Anoucheka. Anoucheka is a primary school educator in Mauritius. She writes poetry, short stories, and novellas as hobby. She has been acclaimed at both national and international level for her contribution to the literary field of Mauritius. Welcome, Anoucheka.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here. Thank you, ma'am.
So, moving on, let me now introduce Jennifer. Jennifer M. Garnard was born in Jamaica but resides in Germany. She has presented her poems on stage in Jamaica, Canada, Germany, USA, including featuring at the legendary Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Her book, Romantically Erotic Deadly Spiritual Society on Human Emotions, Spiritual and Societal Issues, is available via online bookstores, in print, and in ebook. Welcome, Jennifer. So, moving on, let me introduce Pallavi. Writing has been Pallavi's passion from the age of 15. Ex-chemistry professor has a blog which is a collection of Hindi and English poems. She has been participating in many events, live and virtual, and has been an active part of poetry groups in Bahrain. Her poems have been published in the local newspapers, online news portals, as well as e-magazines, and have been part of various anthologies. She says, nature fuels her imagination and creativity. So, welcome, Pallavi.
Thank you so much, Neelam ji, and I'm looking forward to participate in this live event. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. So, moving on to the technical facilitator of the day. Award winning author Nivedita Roy is a teacher by profession and a bilingual poetess and writer by passion. She resides in the Kingdom of Bahrain and belongs to Lucknow. She is the author of 4 solo books in English and Hindi. She has co authored 28 anthologies till date. Her poems, articles are published in many newspapers, e-zines, and websites all over the world. She conducts author interviews and literary talk shows on various online platforms. Welcome, Nivi, on your own page.
Thank you so much, Neelam, for those kind words. And it's now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the host of the day, our dear Neelam Saxena, who has provided this opportunity on her platform, her page, Now she has associated many of the admins there. And let's see who this lady is. Neelam Saxena Chandra has authored 73 books. She holds 3 records with the Limca Book of Records. She has received Sohan Lal Dwivedi Puraskar for Children's Literature by Maharashtra State Hindi Sahitya Academy, Premchand Award by Ministry of Railways, Rabindranath Tagore International Poetry Award, Freedom Award by Radio City for Lyrics, along with other awards and honors. She was listed by Forbes as one among 78 most popular authors in the country, in our country, India, in 2014. And something that she has resistant from sharing here is that she herself is a gadgeted officer of India. She is working for the Indian Railways on a very high position. And she's very passionate about writing and poetry. So, welcome, Neelam, to our page. I hand over the mic back to you.
Thank you, Nivi, for such a wonderful introduction. So, without taking much time, let's move on to round one of the splendid poems that you are going to listen to, dear viewers. Life is full of dreams. For some, dreams are the only things in life where they find solace. For them, the real world is harsh, frozen, and murky. The world often terms them as lunatics. However, such friends find their repose in poetry. Are you one of them, Dane? We would love your answer, but through a poem, please. Dane?
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I have been rescued by poetry. So I will start with some form poetry, an Irish form, and then a Japanese form of Tonka, and the Japanese forms appear in a book that I wrote with Mercedes Duggar entitled Morning Tonka for my first appearance here. Our mythology. Crows flew dawn light liminal, long ago, love lost, waiting. The song story is mythical. Red hair, long, poppy flaming. 1966 protest song heroine walks in green dales of berries. Release us from this quarantine. Lips speak sweet love, lush berries. Sparkle, her eyes perceiving, her ears hearing sorrows worldly. Lift us up to believing, out to believing, wounds sewn up, held, loved, lively. Namaste, fair Mercedes. Soul, heart, grace, and whimsical. Love like isles of cicades. Crows flew, dawn light, liminal. The Tonkas. Shape this fedora, the brim of our tango noir, smoke curling over shoulder, looking at me, eyes, sadly smiling, whisper this. I cannot take it. Dark this exile imposes, lonely is the heart, slowly beating, awaiting your return, glorious morn. You make this alive, living in our dream. We make one kiss fires our bricks, fingers entwined, thatch our roof. This love shack of hurricanes. Thank you.
That was beautiful, an amazing piece of poetry. Thank you so much, Dane. A few lines. I think I write poetry to smoothen those edges sharp, which protrude and hurt me, and about the helplessness harp. They say that poem is cathartic, and we, the poets, often feel so. Are you one of such poets, Anushka? We would love to hear your answer, but in the form of a poem. Anushka.
Definitely. For me, poetry is indeed cathartic. I need to write every day. So I will share with you my first poem. It is called Unmoving Mountains. Mountains, so stoic, standing so tall and so grand, etched upon the world's memory, as the soul witnesses to the beautiful ballet danced by time. Mountains, so bold, yet bidding me to move them, to be where I want them to be, standing on a timeline whose flow accords to the harmony of my innocence. Each attempt, though, brings me back to the same square, thereby reminding me that I am naught but a tiny particle faced with their might. For clocks run clockwise. Clocks cannot run backwards. Clocks control our lifespans, our memories, and even the herd that we have watered so well in our secret gardens that these have bloomed into exquisiteness. Mountains, then, shall be standing still after my presence shall morph into fumes. Mountains shall write of the new ballet shows that they shall witness, keeping silent and stoic, as if the world's drama is macroscopic, even if we leave it all at microscopic level. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was a wonderful poetry. Thank you, Anushka. And moving on, I think I would like to render a haiku here. Anguish refuses to raise its marks. Hurt and pain in mind lingers. Murder of innocence. What's your opinion about it, Jennifer? In the form of a poem, please. Jennifer, please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
My poem is called Reflecting. Standing on the cliff, looking up at the starry skies, reminiscing over 70 years, having trodden upon this beautiful, chaotic earth, a life of fear, of pain, of sorrow, luckily, occasionally overshadowed by moments of glee. Thankful I am to be alive, to have grown in strength innerly, nurtured by my diverse experiences. Hopeful am I for a better tomorrow, for me, for us, for all humanity. With more than half of my lifetime behind me, I promise God, I promise myself to use the little time ahead of me to continue spreading love all around me, living a life being called a child of God worthy. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Jennifer. And as I wrote, salutes to you, kudos to you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, moving on, I was just reading a novel titled Crossroads, and I suddenly remembered that poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. I would love to read its first verse here. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. What do you wish to say about it, Pallavi? In the form of a poem, please.
Thank you, Neelam ji. Yeah, of course, title of my poem is Crossroads, and that's the reality of life. So I'll begin. Crossroads. There comes a time in life when you are at a crossroads where it is difficult to make a decision whether to listen to your mind or to your heart. It is something so frightening yet wonderful. How the mind clings to the road it knows, rushing through the crossroads, yet sticking like lint to the familiar. There are only two choices, and in the end, that was the choice you made. It doesn't matter how hard it was to make. What matters that you did. You often find yourself lingering to the past and vacillating about future like a seesaw. The thought of unknown is daunting, bewildering. The road you choose shapes your destiny. The worst thing is being indecisive. The wise decision relies on a balance between deliberate and instinctive thinking, and be willing to face whatever comes. It is the bad decision which gives experience. When you choose with an open heart, you usually make the right decision. At crossroads, you might feel anxious, muddled, but it is the time when you move on, you feel unburdened, unhindered, and free. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So well said that not taking a decision is the worst thing to do in life. Yes, that's what management gurus also say. So moving on, Nivedita, whom our literary warriors group fondly calls Nivi, is a very sensitive person. Sometimes her heart outpours on different issues going all over the world. Would like to hear your poem which moistened your eyes, dear Nivi.
Thank you, Neelam. So, my poem is titled Dreams of Gaza. Those innocent eyes longed for their childhood. Those enraged men also longed for peace within. Neither was visible, yet the dreams persisted. Dreams of a warm hearth with kin breathing, a posse of play marbles, or just a cheerful race. A childish blabber was drowned in chaos. The bombs and shell boomeranged in the neighborhood. Their rubbery boomerang had melted in the fire. The rubble was hiding toys of hopes shattered. The smoke billowing from a distance carried the smell of charred bodies. Yet, the innocent eyes longed for a fresh start. Those innocent eyes longed for their childhood. Thank you, friends. So, these are Dreams of Gaza that I shared with you. And it is now time for us to invite the host of the evening, Neelam. And as she has proven many times in her own personal life, and she has been an inspiration, that how we can bridge borders across the world as poets. So her poem is titled Bridges, and let's see how Neelam is going to bridge this gap today. Welcome, Neelam.
Thank you, Nivi. So, as Nivi has already said, the title of my poem is Bridges. Whenever I stand on a bridge, I hear several voices echoing. Whenever I stand on a bridge, I hear several voices echoing. It's hard to filter them. But the feeble first harmonic wave blurts out, "Don't go! You don't know what's beyond." The triggering third harmonic waves tacitly utter, "Come over." Unless you walk on an unknown terrain, how will you move ahead in life? I often crave to hear what the second harmonic waves have to whisper, but they don't resonate. I can't hear them. Maybe, as usual, they aren't bothered or are neutral. Being second, they are busy in building themselves up. I know that if I step on the bridge, there's no going back. I weigh the desires. I look at the dangers lurking in the dark. However, my spirit being that of a tramp, and I often take first step carefully. Then I run. Some of the leaps have been leaps of faith. I've often conquered unknown terrains with ease, but I have failed too. Every failure is a lesson learned. I'm wiser. However, the tramp in me has to keep wandering. I see a bridge again. I hear the harmonics again. Some restraining sounds, some welcoming sounds. If the tramp in me halts, it's only for those few drops of love. If I don't cross the bridge, it's for fondness and affection. Until my last breath, I shall honor that. Maybe that's what the second harmonics desire. Thank you.
Passionately rendered, very heartfelt as usual. And Neelam, would you like to take a break and just I can just share a few comments
Oh,
and so
sure.
our
Please go ahead.
audience who joined. So we have a lot of people from our admin team themselves. Koyal is here and Wahida is here. I also saw Anup Jalanji somewhere. I also want to thank Sudeep for joining us. Also to Kumar Prasanna, who's been happily hosting the Fertile Brains, and it's a very vibrant platform. And thank you, everyone. And I think Dane is also sharing. This is his handle on Facebook, dear friends, and I had the privilege of being a part of it as a featured poet once in June. A very humble person, a very powerful poet. His poems are short, but they're very powerful. And I would also take this opportunity to once again welcome Jennifer, Anoucheka, Dane, and Pallavi. And
And some
it,
of our admins, they are writing me, Meera Bansali, Koyal, Vaida.
yes, it is such a pleasure to see all of you here. Gargi, thank you so much for joining in. And I would let Neelam now go ahead with round two. And it's time for us to brace ourselves for the second round of poems and let our audiences be, let's listen to a second round. Thank you, Neelam.
Thank you, dear Nivi. So, moving on, no stick to lean on, no cover to hide. Courage takes away all crutches, teaches to fight and survive. At times, people whom we think are our very own come as crutches in our life. They are the ones who, after they vanish, help us grow. Though we may have felt at that time that we can't live without them, isn't it? Let's listen to Jennifer's poem, You Let Me Down. Jennifer.
Now, let me tell you something, which of course is nothing. These are the first two lines of a poem written by Kumar Prasanna, and it inspired me to write my poem, You Let Me Down. It's now one of my favorite poems. I told you everything, buried in the depths of my conscious heart, outpouring my emotions, letting, hoping to let those loving words float, my innermost feelings airborne, seeking to merge within your heart. Sadly, they bounced off, floating into oblivion, revealing your refusal to reciprocate feelings of sincerity. Thought you were ready for me. Thought you were ready for us. Too late, I now realize you were only fooling around with me. My heart belongs no longer to me. I can now only dazedly glide through each day, regretting my naivety. Hopefully, one day these emotional feelings of love will die, vanish into thin air, so my heart can live, feel alive, carefree survive to give its love to someone else more worthy of it, to someone else more worthy of me.
That was a powerful rendition, Jennifer. Awesome, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, moving on, a few lines. In the crossed and knotted lanes of life, you delight my life as a fresh breeze. All chaos and pandemonium gets erased. With you, I breathe in perfect peace. Let's hear Pallavi as she renders her poem, No One Can Play Your Part. Pallavi.
Thank you, Neelam. Just a small introduction about the poem. We keep reading articles, and in the news we hear some people sometimes they are distressed or they cannot handle life and they end their life. So I got little disturbed by that thought and I wrote this poem. So let me begin. No one can play your part. A piece of my candle stand broke. I fixed it with glue. It did take some time, but I fixed it. It, it lights up my room just as fine. Show me the broken piece of your heart. We will fix it together. I need you, as no one can play your part. In scorching heat of summer, my plant started to shrivel. I nurtured it to life. It's okay if you shrivel. Give me a chance. I will be with you. We will together find some way, as no one can play your part. Let us be there for each other, whether it's day or night, summer or winter. Let us share happiness and sorrow, ups and downs. I may not show, but I need you, as no one can play your part, as no one can play your part. Thank you.
Very nice, Pallavi. And let me tell you, you emote the poems very well. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Neelam. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. Mm,
you.
mm.
So, moving on. Sometimes, don't you wonder, friends, where is the world moving towards? Carbon emissions, depleting ozone layers, smog, rivers full of muck, high noise levels. Oops! None of us like those concrete jungles, do we? We want a life where peace prevails around us, where the air is pure, where water is unpolluted, don't we? Let's hear what Nivi has to say about it. Nivi?
Thank you, Neelam. Couldn't have been a wonderful introduction, better than what you said. So let's hear about a gutter masquerading as a river. Most anticipated event for all. It was time for the masquerade ball. The stream, the pond, the river, and the sea, the lake were swooshing, clicking, with many retakes. Then blurted out the puddle, I smell a stink. Wondered all in unison, on where is the link? The river was awkward, unusually so. She's upset, or what's her woe? Reluctant to mingle, the river sported on an overall dress. The ocean had plans to propose. His nerves were a mess. Why was she so subdued? Her supple flow, her cheerful burble, it was all polluted and guttural. The stink in the ballroom was growing. Even the glamorous attire and mask failed to disguise the unpalatable stench. Hanging her head, she sat on the bar bench. In her demented mind, physically defiled, the river danced on unsteadily till midnight. The forgiving sea accepted her as she is for a lifetime. I hope, friends, you got the gist of the poem.
It is wonderful. It is a wonderful poem that needs to be spoken about, that needs to be told to the entire world. Thank you, Nivi.
Thank you so much, Neelam.
So, moving on, Dane has been my Facebook friend since long, and I have seen him writing quite offbeat poetry. I keep reading him once in a while. So, which poem would you like to render today, Dane?
Um, this is a piece called Luna, which is a combination of, again, a form, Japanese form poem and other, and I don't know what you call the other, free verse. It's called Luna. In the cold and lonely everywhere, where many traveled in only their orbit, never to meet the smile of another traveler, it was Luna's lot, quotidian, the time scale of eons too meager to count, residing in the realm of the exalted. You are my Luna, showing me the damage done, the crash of debris, illuminating night face, lighting, shining down on me. I am just man, reaching up to you with my hand, wishing I could stroke your cheek, and you do not know I'm here. Lunatic is what I hear them shout. In this dream, I am inside you. I feel your soft moans. I'm climbing up you, me walk maiden. I am driven, compelled to complete the journey into my heart. I am called by you, Oku, to give up, hidden, leave it on the table, around and around, spinning, kuro, kuro at the top, on the real and hard mountain top. I rest on rocks and dirt and watch you travel far away from my reach. You are exalted in your sway in this private moment, deep in night silence. Twinkle the velvet vault, our love concealed, deeply shared between us. Down below, the 36 villages, people sleeping, dreaming, some of them of love as grand as this. They leave it behind, unwaking. They find their own way to say, okay, in a cute and sweet tone, goodbye for now. Travel across the border. You are my Luna, showing me the damage done, the crash of debris, illuminating night face, lighting, shining down on me. Thank you.
That was wonderful. And just like Sunana Pal from USA has written, amazing. It was indeed amazing. And Prasanna has written, love you, dear Dane. So wonderful, wonderful. And Sadbiji has also said some very nice words about your poem. Thank you. So moving on, silence has meant different things to different people. For some, it means loneliness. For some, it is pleasure. Some term it as toil. For some, it is an opportunity to discover oneself. What does silence mean to Anushka? Let's hear it from the horse's mouth in her poem titled The Golden Silence.
Thank you. It has taken me a long time to grasp that fruits and flowers bloom in total silence. It has taken me a long time to realize that hearts reach out for each other in that same silence, and that if the mouth is open to make of these spoken of, The magic shreds itself away as easily as shorelines get disappeared as the waters keep rising. It is also in that same silence that prayers get sent to the universe and poetry gets created on paper, meant to be etched as eternal remnants of love or pain or even of the sky's will over us. Yet today silence has become my crown. It holds the power to bring about energy shifts and even to send to my soul that which it wills me for my afterlife. It is that which saw stars birth and dusk turn into nights. It is that which allowed me to see the meaning behind those eyes that burned for me, and it is that which shall push my decisions as being made of my own will, guided solely by the powers of fate. Thank you.
That was indeed thought provoking. A very nice poem, Anushka. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Well, it's time for me to invite Neelam once again for her second poem, and it is going to be very powerful. Her second poem is going to be very thought provoking. Not many people have the courage to talk about this section of the society, and my dear friend Neelam has taken up the courage to talk about in her poem. And she's going to render a few lines about the life of a sex worker. Neelam, I'm looking forward to hearing this poem from you.
Thank you, dear Nivi. So, my poem is titled Raindrops. The raindrops fall on her bosom gently, making her feel elated after long. At least there's someone who loves her without a reason. So, what if it is inanimate? Cute, they call her when they blink at her during daytime. So, what if they sleep with her at night, touching her bosom without any trace of love? She's known as sex worker by the elitist. The writers and poets present the stories of women like her. The filmmakers make amazing films and win Filmfare Awards, but no one dares to touch the bosom of the actor who wins the Best Female Actor Award, do they? It's she and her friends whose body is tarnished and her soul blemished. She has often sat with her bosom bare, wondering why she's alive. However, these raindrops finally make her smile. She's got to educate her daughter so that she doesn't live a life of doom. So, thank you, uh, friends, for joining us today. And I hope you liked my poetry. And before ending this session, uh, would you like to say something, Nivi?
Me? Okay. I am
Yeah.
so engrossed in your words. I'm sorry for the delayed response. Yes, I would first like to thank all our viewers, and I missed Mira's name, so I need to do the damage control here. Thank you so much, Mira, for coming and writing beautiful comments. Thank you to Sadbir to all the people who joined, and I will come back to once again saying a big, big thank you for the participants of today, Pallavi, Anushka, Dane, Jennifer, Neelam, and me take pride in this evening and you accepting our invitation and really enlightening us with those beautiful words, those lovely, you know, beautiful words of your poetry in your own way. And this is what I would like to say. Neelam, what do you say?
Thank you. I think a question to each of our participants.
Hmm.
Jennifer, how was it participating for the second time and uh, on our page, coming on our page for the second time?
Okay. I am honored that you invited me to return, and it was a real pleasure for me to be here. The poems that everybody presented all had sort of were thought provoking. They gave room for thought. I think a lot of us can really look within ourselves and see how can we really help to change whatever situations. And your last poem, Neelam, was so unusual. The theme you spoke about, the woman working in the sex industry, I think it's really, really powerful.
Thank you, Jennifer.
There were lots of other.
Moving on to Dane. It was your first appearance on our page. So, what would you like to say about the meet?
Well, I want to say thank you very much for including me in this group of wonderful poets. The event was very well organized and lovely and curated very well, and I enjoyed the the host contributions and comments, and the way it had a very nice flow to it. And thank you so much, and hopefully when there's time for me again to come back, I would certainly love to come back. Don't want to wear out my welcome, but thank you very much.
Yes, you are always welcome. You are
Always welcome.
welcome.
Oh.
So, moving on to Anoucheka, what would you like to say about the poems rendered by the other poets today?
So, first of all, I would like to thank you, organizers, for organizing this event and for inviting me. It is indeed true that technology is acting as a bridge. Today, we are meeting from all parts of the world, and I have had the opportunity to listen to so many beautiful poems. Poetry acting as a savior, poetry as as a tool for social problems. It was wonderful to hear you, and I would like to say that you are inspirations. Someday, I hope to be the one organizing events like that for my country or even at international level.
Thank you. Thank you. And my question to Pallavi: how was it listening to the different poets and how does it affect you?
First of all, thank you, Neelam, for providing such a beautiful platform, and of course, Nivedita, because she invited me. So, of course, it is so inspirational to hear a thought process and the poets from around the world. It's just not only inspire, it triggers your thought process as well. Because we all face a lot of things, and which, of course, today, like you and other poets, have narrated in the form of poetry. So really, I loved the session, and it's thought provoking. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for listening me. I loved everybody's, poems today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear poets. And all I can say is there is a thread binding us all, and it is a very silky, nice kind of thread. And hope this thread keeps binding all the poets all over the world, and it helps eradicate all the irrational things happening throughout the world. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
So much, and looking